Hey, what's up, everybody? Say what's up to Brenda. Brenda is an important part of Rehab Time. One thing I want to talk about today, just a bit about relationships. And Brenda, I'm gonna ask you a few questions. You can chime in for sure. You know, God's delay isn't always his denial. You know, we always say God's delay, isn't his denial, right? We always say that. But sometimes, God's delay is because of our denial. And when it comes to relationships, that's a big part of it. I'm not saying that, right now is the time for you to be in a relationship, whatever it may be. God can have you being single, have you waiting on him. I always think lonely or singleness is a big part of, you getting prepared for the relationship that God has for you. But a big part of a relationship is understanding who you are. A lot of us, we come into relationships broken. We come into relationships not knowing who we are. And we come into relationships being hurt from our past and all these different things. And, it's not healthy for the relationship we're trying to get in. That, sometimes God is ready for you to have that relationship. You're just not ready to be that person. You're not ready to work on who you are and be that person that is waiting for you. And so I just want to encourage y'all to always work on you. What you do privately, God will bless publicly. Grow closer to him. Understand who you are. Learn how to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, can't anybody really love you fully. If you don't know the love that God has for you, then it's kind of hard for you to understand what love truly is, because if you're a believer like me, God is love. I'm going to bring Brenda back. She has kind of a bad reception. But, one thing I read in this book is really praying for your future husband. And, and this goes for men too, praying for your future wife. It's very key, because a lot of times, we pray for our dreams. We pray for all these things. Even if you're in a relationship, that's one of the things that my wife does for me. I do for my wife. We're always praying for each other, because you never know what boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever your situation may be, but you never understand and you never know what somebody's going through. Even if you're close to that person, you never know somebody's battles. Somebody might have pride or might not want to put certain burdens on you, so they hold a lot of things inside. And those things that people hold inside, those small things, a lot of times turn into big things. I believe in relationships that a lot of powerful relationships end because of miscommunication, misunderstanding. Of course, selfishness ends relationships. So, praying for your spouse, praying for your fiance, your boyfriend and girlfriend is key. But a lot of outside things in relationships, right? We allow, whether it's temptation, whether it's bills, whether it's whatever. And one thing that I always tell people, I'm not going to be on here long, but one thing that I always tell people is to never forget the reason why you fell in love. Time can also take away the connection, and you always want to stay connected. And the best way to stay connected is through prayer. The best way to stay connected is through communication. It's through talking. It's through understanding. Your relationship has to have an open line of communication, because if you're not communicating, then how can you ever connect? Where there's no connection in anything, there's no power. So, talk daily. Talk daily to the person that you're with. It doesn't have to necessarily be about whatever, maybe it's about their dreams. Maybe it's about, what they're thinking. Maybe it's about, a goal that they have. You should be your relationships, your partners or your husband or your wife's biggest supporter. I always said it since day one. It doesn't mean you have to be vocal. It doesn't mean you have to be online and doing all that. But behind closed doors, you should be that person's biggest supporter. They should know they can always lean on you. And I think a lot of times in relationships, what happens is that we forget to do that. And I see so many people, and it hurts my heart when I see people in relationships, instead of being their biggest supporter, they're their biggest hater. They're their biggest doubter. So, your husband might bring an idea to you and you shoot it down, or your wife might bring an idea to you and you shoot it down quickly. And, that's not good. You should be the one that uplifts them. You should be the one that believes in them. Being a realist and understanding is key in relationships. I will say that, but at the same time, man, keeping their passion alive, keeping their dreams and visions alive is key, because if their dreams and visions die, then their relationship is going to die. It takes two people to make a relationship. So I really want you guys to understand that, the importance of that, the importance of connecting, the importance of talking, the importance of not letting outside things matter. A lot of times it's finances that separate relationships. A lot of times it's social media these days that separate relationships, and we spend more time on our phone than we do with our partner. In my household, we have times where we don't even bring out the phone. We make sure we put that away, and we make sure we connect, because, attention is everything. Give somebody your undivided attention these days. You shouldn't be having communication and conversation halfway there. I think that's the rudest thing you ever can do to somebody. You know, give them their full attention, because when you listen to somebody, just listening, not necessarily what you say, but just being a great listener will show somebody how much you care, because it shows that you're interested in what they're talking about. Just be a listener. You don't have to necessarily say all the right things. And that's another thing too. Just make sure that, you know, at the end of the day, that you keep God at the center of it all. You know, God brought it together. And a lot of times we get separated from that. We get separated in our own selfish desires. We get separated in what the world wants us to do. And like I said, we get separated with social media. And, you know, we pay attention to whatever's going on social media. You know, temptation is real. Everything is real. You know, all these things are real. And it sucks, because I'll just tell you like this, you know, we get one life to live. And it's hard to find somebody that's going to ride for you. It's hard to find somebody that's going to care for you, be loyal to you, and all these things. When you have that, cherish that, appreciate that. It's a reason y'all got together, right? It's a reason. And you can always bring that spark back. You can always bring that, the love that y'all once had back. It was there, but it takes work. You know, nothing works if you don't put in the work. No relationships work if you don't work on it. But, you know, forgiveness is key. All these things, man, I talk about these things all the time, but I just wanted to share that with you guys, and just communicate with that. And, you know, go to your relationship right now, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend or girlfriend, and just go have a conversation. You know, you don't have to do much. Just have a conversation. When's the last time y'all sat down and had a conversation just about life? When's the last time you sat down and had a conversation about their dreams and their goals, about what this world is what's going on in this world? You know, when you first met that person, I'm sure that those conversations took place. And so don't let what you first did die. You know, I always say, you know, when you were trying to win them, you know, quote unquote, win them over, you were doing everything that you can do. You would call them all the time. You would give them your undivided attention. You would give them gifts. You would do this. You would do that. You would never stop dating, as I always say. But as time goes on, you know, we tend to relax and we tend to get comfortable. And we stop doing the things that got them, just to be real with you. And then now they're in a relationship with a person that they don't even know. That wasn't the person that they fell in love with. The person that a lot of people become, you know, the person that allows time to make them become. That's not who they fell in love with. You know, who they fell in love with was the person that they first met. And you can always go back to that. And it takes work. It takes, you know, letting addictions go. It takes a lot of things. It takes work, but you can always get to that. And so I want to encourage the people out there to continue to pray for your spouse. Continue to cover them with the blood of Jesus. Continue to, you know, speak life into them. You know, that's another thing. I'm sorry, I'm just rambling, but it's coming to my heart. But that's another thing, you know, I see so many people tear down the person that they're with. And it's sad to me. Like, why are you tearing down the person that you love? Like, that's the person that's in your household. Why are you tearing them down? You should be able to build them up. And nothing's perfect. You're going to have disagreements and arguments. But why tear that person down when you should build them up, lift them up? You know, it's like I talk about this to parents, to kids. You know, we always tell a kid no and what not to do when you're doing wrong. And I say we need less of that. It's okay to parent your child, but we need more of uplifting, because this world's going to tell your kid enough of they can't be this or no, or give them rejection, right? We need to be able to lift our kids up and say, you know what, you can do this. I'm proud of you. And the same thing with relationships, the same things with your relationship. You know, tell them that you're proud of them. When's the last time you said that? Be real. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do all this complaining, right? You didn't do this, you didn't do that, or you need to do more of this, or you need to be like this. When's the last time you say, you know what, I appreciate you? When's the last time you say, you know what, thank you? When's the last time you said, you know, I love you? When's the last time you said those things to uplift that person? You know, I mean, let's just be real. Like, just being real. The more negative you give to a relationship, the more negative it's going to be. These are things that you already know. The more positive things you give to a relationship, the more positive it's going to be. And that doesn't mean you ignore things that are going on. You don't address certain situations and things like that. But communication is key in a relationship. So don't sit there and tear down the person that you're with on social media. I can't stand when I see that. You know, if you don't want to be with that person, then don't be with that person. But if you're with that person, don't tear them down. Don't sit there and talk to your friends bad about the person that you're with, right? You go talk to a bitter friend who's already bitter in her relationship, then you bring your problems to that relationship, right? And then they make you feel like bad for being in it. And then you start looking at your person that you're with in a whole different light. You know, watch who you communicate about your relationship with. I'm just being honest with you and real with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, lift that person up. You're still fighting for that person. You're still fighting with that person in that relationship to make it stronger, don't sit there and tear them down to nobody. To nobody. You can have somebody you communicate with, and I'll tell you this, when you're getting advice about your relationship, get advice from people who are happy. All right? Get advice from people who are successful at relationships, you know, and that are going to be real and honest. Don't get advice from your bitter friend that's unhappy. Just being real with you. Don't get advice from somebody who knows nothing about being successful in a relationship. Just period. You know, and 9 times out of 10 times, the person that you're going to is bitter is going to give you bad advice. So get advice from people who are successful, who made it through hard times, who made it through tough times, and get advice from those people. Those are people that you want to get around to help your relationship. And so I just wanted to share that, man. I'll make some small videos over this. I talked about this 1,000 times before in different videos. I have a video called How to Make Your Relationship Stronger on YouTube, even on my Facebook. I actually have like a little, what do you call it? A little picture video over those things, 5 steps to make your relationship stronger. But at the end of the day, it takes work. That's it. It takes work. And it takes prayer. So the whole message of today, sorry, Brenda's internet was messed up, man. We're going to have to get her some better internet over there. I know she's watching this. But the whole message, and I knew she would have some great points. So I'm going to have to bring her back because Brenda's amazing. But the whole point of this was to start praying for the person that you're with. Make sure you're praying for the person that you're with, or praying for the person that you want to be with. And as you're in the waiting process of being single, make sure you're working on you. You know, don't ask God for a relationship when you're not ready to be in one. Don't ask God for the perfect person when you're not that perfect person, okay? So make sure that you're always working on you. And in his timing, it will come. But a lot of times he has that person for you. He has that thing for you, that dream, that relationship, whatever it may be. It's just that we're living so much in denial. We're not willing to work on ourselves. We're living so much in denial that God's delaying that because he doesn't want to give us something that we're just going to ruin and mess up. This is not a message to say you got to ignore being hurt or anything like that. Y'all seen a lot of my videos when it comes to those topics. You know that disrespect shouldn't be tolerated, anything like that. But a lot of relationships let little small things unaddressed. And that's another thing about communication. I talked about art communication before with you guys. And art communication, the first step is assurance, right? The first one is appreciation. When you have a problem with somebody, and I know this is easier said than done, but when you have a problem with somebody, instead of just coming to them, because understand about communication, you have to learn who you're talking to. If you're with a person, you know how they're going to respond. So, right, you have to talk to them in a way they're going to respond, or there's no point in talking. Like yelling at somebody, like even with me, if you come to me yelling at me, I'm going to shut down. I don't want to hear that. But if you come to me in a respectable way, a respectable manner, I'm all ears all day. And so the first one is assurance. So when you go to somebody, give them, appreciation. Appreciation is the A. Tell them how much you appreciate them. Tell them how much you love them. Tell them how much you're glad that they're a part of your life. Showing appreciation is one of the biggest things that you can give somebody. That's in relationships, that's in friendships, that's to your boss, that's to whoever. All right? Appreciation is key. So go to them, tell them how much you appreciate them. The second part of our communication is reassurance, right? Reassurance. Reassure them that you're in this, right? That you want this to work. Reassure them that you want to see the best in them. That's why you're bringing up this concern, whatever it may be. Reassure them that how much love you have for them. Okay, do those things. Reassure them of whatever they need to be reassured of, because a lot of times as humans, we need to be reassured of something, because if somebody's coming to me sideways all the time, in my mind, I'm thinking like, are they really for me? Like, are they really for me? Because all they do is try to tear me down. So reassure them that you're trying to lift them up and build them up, that you care about this relationship, you care about this friendship, you care about whatever it may be, this situation. Reassure them of that, okay? And the third thing, the C of our communication, is communicate. By that time, you have their undivided attention. By that time, they know that you're for them, and now you can communicate. You have a better connection line of communication at that point, because now they're not on the defense. Now they're not tripping. Now they're not mad at you, and nobody's yelling. And now you can place your concern to them. Okay, you can place your concern. So ARC, right? Appreciation, reassurance, reassure them, and the C is concern or communicate, whatever it may be. And you talk to them in a respectable way. And you say, this is what's going on. I know it's easier said than done sometimes, right? Sometimes that communication ain't there. I get it. We're all human. But try your best. And you know, especially on situations that aren't bad, you know, or little things, you know, maybe it's they don't take you out no more, or maybe y'all lost this or that. And I understand if it's something that's bad, maybe that doesn't work all the time, right? But when it's the little things, you know, express your concerns in that manner, communicate in those three ways. And I think it'll work a lot better. I think you'll see a bigger change. You'll see a bigger response from that person. And it's worked for me. You know, it's worked for me. I've used that communication with a lot of people I coach, people, my friends, you know, relationship wise, it definitely works. If you're, like I said, and if you know the relationship is not going to get better, if you know you're addressing the same things over and over, nothing is changing, everything isn't meant to be quit on. You know, just because it's hard, just because it's not going right, doesn't mean it can't be right. You know, if a person's progressing, if a person's trying to change, they're making changes, you can see that. I always say never quit on that person because they're actually trying, they actually care. But if a person doesn't change, doesn't care to change, and keeps treating you a certain type of way, keeps disrespecting you, then that's another conversation. That's another situation altogether. And I always tell you guys, never tolerate disrespect, you know, because the more you tolerate it, the more you tell that person that it's okay to give it, and the more you become comfortable with accepting it. And that should always be unacceptable in life. Communication can be hard. Yeah, communication is tough, but communication is powerful. Without communication, a relationship can't exist, or anything can't exist. Communication is one of our strongest gifts that we have. And so make sure you strengthen that. Make sure you learn how to communicate in your relationship. Understand their insecurities. Understand what they've been through. Understand their past. You know, a lot of us, we have insecurities from our past. And, you know, as a person, we have to let those insecurities go. But also, as the person that you're with, or the person that you're with, you have to understand their insecurities and the things that they've been through and the trauma that they've been through. And, you know, sometimes it's not about you. Sometimes it's what they've been through. They haven't totally got over their past, or something you might say might trigger something that reminds them of their past. And so understanding in anything in life is key. And the more you can understand the person that you're with, the more they can understand you, the less selfish you can be in a relationship. The more you can communicate, the more you can keep it fresh, the more you can do all those things, man, the better. But it takes two people. Like I always tell you guys, man, it takes two people to make a relationship work. One person can't want all this and the other person doesn't. It's not going to work out at all. And so, but, you know, there are great relationships in this world. My relationship is excellent. It's great. The communication is there. I know how I communicate with my wife. She knows how I communicate, how I respond. When we go through our little rough times, you know, from whatever, maybe a disagreement, trying to do something around the house or whatever it may be, you know, we used to kind of like, man, you got to get this done. But she knew I didn't respond well to that. And so she talks to me differently now. I talk to her differently now because I know what she responds to. So we understand each other, and it makes it a lot better. And so, you know, it's trial and error sometimes, getting to learn somebody and know somebody. But, you know, you got to realize that you're on the same team, your teammates. You know, the world's already going to try to break you apart through technology, through whatever, you know, through haters, through time, so much things, even through your kids. And what I mean by that is because, you know, when you have more kids, you tend to spend more time with your kids and have to do certain things with your kids, and you don't necessarily get to connect as much and go on date nights and do different things like that. So you have to make sure those things are still implemented in your relationship, because or else the relationship is going to get boring, and nobody likes anything that's boring. You know, keep the relationship fun, keep it spontaneous, and have a great time with it, man. That's the person that you're with. That's the person that you love. So, you know, don't give more attention to anything else, you know, than the person that you're with. That's just the way I feel.